Hi friends, welcome to Crack Grade B. Hi friends, welcome to Crack Grade B. We are back with yet another important lecture for your upcoming examination, that is NABARD Grade A. But yes, this is not limited to only NABARD Grade A. This topic, right, this topic is very important for your RBI Grade B, SEBI Grade A and any other banking examinations, right? So 15th Finance Commission, right? Before we start, we should know the importance of this commission, right? We should understand what this commission is. So let's begin by asking ourselves a question: what is finance commission? Okay, finance commission क्या है? Here we need to understand one thing, right? We know that the central government collect the taxes, right? Like in the previous lecture of the rural development, where we have explained you regarding the three-tier system of the governments, right? Union government, the state government, then the panchayats, right? Now everyone will need money to function, right? So everybody will have some sort of developmental activity, and also to be able to perform those development activities, they will need some resource, they will need some money. Now, how do they get money? How do they get distributed among each others, right? That is the one thing that the Finance Commission deals with. So let's sum up. So Finance Commission is a commission, right, that recommends the central government to divide its money, right? Now we know that many taxes, like each and every person lives in a state, right? Lives in a state. So we pay many taxes, like we pay income tax, corporate pays corporate tax. So there are we pay GST. So there are many kind of taxes that straight away goes to central government. But the state government, for its developmental activity, would need some money to function, right? So central government divides this money among the states. Now, how much they will divide? What amount of money they will give to which state, right? So every states have some distinct characteristics. Like UP is a big state, Maharashtra is the richest state, right? Bihar is comes in the lower category of states in terms of money, in terms of development. So in multiple, like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, these are the new states, right? So they do not have much resources and also the developmental activities. So how does this money get distributed among the states, right? How will they utilize? How will the central government decides, or central government come up with a formula so that every state have the concessioners? Yes, we are going to get this much amount of money. So all these answers comes from whom? All these answers comes from the Finance Commission, right? So I hope now Finance Commission is clear. Now let's move forward and understand. So Finance Commission is governed by Article 280 of the Constitution. Article 280 of the Indian Constitution. But let me tell you a very important fact, right? So Finance Commission as an institution is older than the Indian Constitution. Now how? So the first Finance Commission was constituted, first Finance Commission of the non-independent India, right, was constituted under the C.D. Deshmukh, under the chairmanship of C.D. Deshmukh. So it was constituted when the discussion for the this constitution was going on, right? So this is a fact. I don't think this will ever asked in any examination. This is a fact. But yes, we should know after the constitution, Article 280 deals with the Finance Commission, right? Next, Finance Commission act as a quasi-judicial body. Quasi-judicial body means they give recommendation that are non-binding to the central government. Means their recommendation is not binding to the central government, that they should follow line to line what they have said. They can take up, yes, that's recommendation. They will take up what they need to take up, what the central government doesn't like will not take up, right? So that is how it works. Then this is constituted by the President of India for the period of 5 years. So every 5 years every 5 years, yes, President of India will form this Finance Commission. So what we are studying the 15th Finance Commission, right? So the 15th Finance Commission had a tenure of, yes, 5 years. So whom it is formed? It is formed by the President of India. So when it is formed by the President of India, there has to be some terms of reference, right? There has to be some terms of reference. What are the things that they are going to refer, right? They have a structured or article in the Constitution that deals with what they need to do. Still, there would be some recommendation made by the President of India, or it is made by the central government, union government, through the presidential order, right? So that is known as terms of reference. So they will have to refer that executive order that is binding for the Finance Commission. So this is formed for the period of 5 years. So I am stretching on some points because they will be very important when it comes to your objective, like which article they deal with, whom they are, it is formed by whom. It is formed by the President of India for a period of how many years? For a period of 5 years. Now next, but the thing is, who will be the members, right? And how they will be selected. How they will be selected, this is something made by the Parliament of India, not by the Union government, right? Not by the Union government, it is by the Parliament India. So this is synonymous, right? Not by the Union government but by the Parliament. So Parliament is being run by the Union government, right? But see, when I say Union government, this means the ruling party. But when I say Parliament, it means the overall assembly, right? So there is a difference, so that you need to understand. So when I say Parliament, I mean the entire Parliament, and when I say the Union Cabinet or the Union government, that means the ruling party, not the opposition party, right? Now let's move forward. So what are the things that the Parliament looks? Parliament decides on qualification of member. Okay, कौन फाइनेंस कमीशन के अंदर रहेगा ये नहीं. What will be the qualification of the member? Will you or will I can be the member of Finance Commission? Absolutely no. We will have to be qualified that much, only then they can think of our appointment, right? So that is how it works. Qualification of members. Then the matter in which they are selected. The manner in which they are selected, right? What is the procedure that they will be selected? Who is deciding it? The Parliament of India. Then chairman should have experience in public affairs. The chairman of the Finance Commission should have experience in public affairs. Okay, got it? So this is very important. So it is not like they'll bring someone from the US and they'll make him the chairman, like RBI governors, like in case of Dr. Raghuram Rajan. So they were bought from the United States. But in this case, I mean in the case of Finance Commission, they should have experience in the public affairs, right? So this is an important thing to note. Who is deciding? The Parliament of India. Now let's move forward in the lecture and understand what are their qualifications or who can be the members, right? Members should be selected from amongst the following. Number one, a judge of High Court or one qualified to be appointed as one. So there should be a judge of the High Court, or if he is not a judge, he should be qualified enough. I mean the seniority, the cases that he or she have handled should be qualified or should be enough so that they can be called as equivalent to judge of the High Court. So one member has to be from this qualification. Then a person who have specialized knowledge of finance and accounts of the government. It's not about the finance and accounts, it's about of the government, right? Of the government. So basically it means someone from the government, right? Some previous secretary or someone who has worked closely in the Ministry of Finance or Commerce Ministry, who knows the accounts and finance of governments, right? Has a specialized knowledge on that. Then the third one, a person who has wide experience in financial matters and in administration. So yes, so this is a point where a person can be bought from foreign, like a person who have wide experience in financial matters and administration. So it has not specified as they have to be from India or they have to be from the specialized knowledge, like in the second point they have mentioned of the government, the Indian government, right? But in the third point nothing is mentioned. So the experience needs a specialized financial matters and in administration. So yeah, somebody from the foreign country can come up and join as a member. So yes, it's not their well and which government has to call. The last point, a person who has a special knowledge of economics. So a person who has special knowledge of economics, like the third point, the fourth point is also same, but the only difference is here it is financial matter and administration, here it is economics, right? So this is the qualification of each member of the Finance Commission. And what it said about the chairman, in the last slide we have seen, chairman should have experience in public affair. Chairman should have experience in public affair, right? So yes, so that means the commission would be consist of one chairman and 4 members, right? So yes, let's move ahead in the lecture and let's see. Finance Commission to make following recommendation on to the President of India. So it is being formed by the President of India, and the reports also get submitted to President of India, but the report is getting tabled on Parliament of India, right? Now, number 1, the distribution of the net proceed of taxes to be shared between the centers and state, to be shared between the centers and state, and the allocation between the states of the respective shares of such proceed. Now see, this is number 1 point, this is number 2 point, the allocation between the states. So on the first point it says about what amount of money the central government will give to the state governments, and in the second point it says about, now at the first point the money is decided. Let's suppose x amount of money should be distributed or should be given from the central pool to the state government. Now how much to be given to each state, or that x amount would be divided between all the states, right? All the states. So the allocation between the states, this forms the first recommendation, right? And the second one is the principles that should govern the grant in aid to the state by the centers. So yes, it grants in aid. Grant in aids to whom? To central government. Then the third point, the measure needed to augment the consolidated fund of a state to supplement the resource of the panchayat and the municipalities in the state on the basis of recommendation made by the State Finance Commission. Now, at the first point, they have decided how much money to give from the center to state pool and how the money is going to be distributed among the states. This is about the first point. And what about the second point? Second point is about the grant in aid that the central is going to give to each state. So there has to be some grant, right? Because central do not, state government do not have much amount of resource to collect. Central collects huge amount of resources. So the central government gives this amount of money, I mean central government gives some certain granting aids to the state governments, and that is recommended in point number 2 by the Finance Commission. Third one is all about the panchayat and the urban local bodies, right? So how much amount of money would be given to them? 3-tier government, remember the lecture from the rural development, right? 3-tier government. So how much amount of money would be given to the urban local bodies and the panchayat, right? So this is about the point 3. And the point 4, any other matter referred to it by the President in interest of sound finance. Terms of reference, we'll come to this, right? So in 15th Finance Commission we have special terms of reference that was given by the President of India for the defense sector, and with taking that terms of reference, obviously the that is binding and they have to do something for that, and they did it, right? So there is non-lapsable fund that was created. So we will understand when we come to point number 3. In this particular part 1 of the lecture, we will only understand point number 1 thoroughly, right? And this is something very, very small, we'll complete in part 2 in one go. So let's move forward, right? And let us understand. So now we have understood the Finance Commission, right? Now it's time to understand what does 15th Finance Commission look like. So it was formed at 27 November 2017. So very important, you will have to remember this, right? Next, this was formed under the chairman of N.K. Singh, right? So he is a bureaucrat, ex-bureaucrat as well. He is an ex-member of parliament as well, right? So wide experience, Mr. N.K. Singh. So comment me in the comment section, Mr. N.K. Singh, you have not heard this name for the first time, right? So you know your syllabus, you have read something about FRBM. So how is FRBM Act related to Mr. N.K. Singh? So I want you to comment this in the comment section, right? Now, yes, so that you will have a revision of FRBM Act. So if you know, that's good. If you do not know, you will find, right? So how is FRBM Act related to Mr. N.K. Singh? Then who are the members? So the members are Shri Ajay Narayan Jha, Dr. Anup Singh, Dr. Ashok Lahiri, Dr. Ramesh Chand, Shri Arvind Mehta, right? So now here is an interesting fact. The present RBI governor was also part of the 15th Finance Commission, but the moment he got into the governorship, he resigned from this and joined the Reserve Bank as a governor, right? So this you should know. Then, so when was the report submitted? So okay, the first report consisting of recommendation of the financial year 2020-21 was tabled in Parliament on February 1, 2020. Right. The final report with recommendation of 21-26 for the period was tabled in Parliament on February 1, 2021. Now see, we will have to understand one thing here, right? Like in the last slide, I told you that the Finance Commission is being made to recommend the devolution, recommend the distribution of money for the period of 5 years. Then how come this 15th Finance Commission submitting its reports 2 times? It is because, so when it was formed, it has to give the report from 2020 to 2025, right? But due to the formation of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh as the new union territory, the formula got changed. So that is the reason 15th Finance Commission has recommended in its first report for only 1 year, that is 2020 and 2021, right? And after Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh was made the union territory, they have come up with a final report from 2021 to 2026, right? So this is once in a because Jammu and Kashmir will not be made UT multiple times, right? So they are UT, so they are now UT. Now, so since it was done that time, the 2 reports were submitted one by one, and this becomes very important because you can get confused when it comes to objective. So if the objective says about the first report when it was tabled in the Parliament, it would be Feb 1, 2020, or they can ask you the first report was recommended for financial year from when to when, right? So it was from 2020 to 2021 or financial year 21, right? But the final report that has been submitted is for the complete tenure, that is 2021 to 2026, for the period of 5 years. And the report was tabled on the Parliament on Feb 1, 2021, right? So you will have to remember this very important point. Who is the chairman? The chairman is N.K. Singh. You don't have to remember about the names, right? And when it was formed, 27 November 2017. So this slides consist of many important information that you have to remember. Then let's move forward about the first terms of reference. Like from the last to last slide, I have told you about the two things. Number one, Finance Commission looks for how what amount of money will be given from the central pool to the states. Number one. Number two, how this money would be divided amongst the state, right? So these are the two things that the first point consists of. But you know, this has a very important keyword, and the keyword or the standard term is vertical devolution and horizontal devolution, right? So what do you mean by vertical devolution? Between the union and the states, right? Let's say this is the union government. It earns rupees 100 or 100 crore. 100 crore. So among this 100 crore, they will keep some amount. Let's say they keep 60 crore, and rest 40 crore they are giving to state government. So this is what vertical devolution means, right? So this is vertical devolution. Now, what is horizontal devolution? So horizontal devolution is among the states. So there are multiple states, right? Punjab, Maharashtra, Bihar, New Delhi. So New Delhi is UT, UP, and so on. All these states, right? So how this 40 crore is divided between all of them? How that 40 crore is divided between all of these states is known as horizontal devolution, means among these states, right? Among the states or between these states, horizontal devolution. I hope I could able to make you clear the difference between vertical devolution and horizontal devolution. Now let's move forward in the lecture and understand vertical devolution recommendation, right? So what is the recommendation that the 15th Finance Commission has made in terms of vertical devolution? So in order to maintain predictability and stability of resources, especially during the pandemic, 15th Finance Commission has recommended maintaining the vertical devolution at 41%, the same as in our report for 2020-21. So 41% in the first report for 2020-21, right? Only this much you will have to remember, 41% for 2020-21. Now let's read this one. It is at the same level of 42% of the divisible pool as recommended by 14th Finance Commission, right? However, it has made the required adjustment of about 1% due to the changed status of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir into the new union territories of Ladakh and Jammu and Kashmir. So understand. So this vertical devolution was 41% in the 14th Finance Commission as well. So this is continued, right? So this was continued in 2020-21. But what happened for 2021 to 2026, the 1% was carved out and was given to Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh because they were the new union territories, and union territories means the expenses that is getting incurred in those territories will be borne by the union government or the central government, right? So that is the reason this 1% has been carved out from this pool that was recommended in the 14th Finance Commission, which has been continued in the 15th Finance Commission, right? Of that amount is 1%, about 1%. So this was the story. But what do you have to remember? Two things. For 2020-21, it's 41%, right? For 2000, for the next from 2021 to 22, it's 42%. That's it. I hope I could able to make you clear. Next, let's move forward and understand the. So this is something that you don't have to remember, right? This is just, I won't take much time in this slide because I don't find nothing important here. So in 15th Finance Commission assessment, gross revenue for 5 years. So what they have estimated, expected to in the 5-year terms from 2021 to 26 is 135.2 lakh crore. Okay. So out of this divisible, the divisible pool would be somewhere around 103 lakh crore, because this cess and surcharge that the central government collects do not forms the part of this divisible pool. Understand? Okay, let me break down. Let's say the union government collects 100 rupees at tax, right? 100 rupees. So out of this 100 rupees, 2 rupees is a part of cess and surcharge. So they collect this 2 rupees as a part of cess and surcharge from multiple sources. So this 2 rupees will not form the part of divisible pool. So when the amount that goes into division between the central and the state will be the rupees 98. The 2 rupees will be with the central government only. Okay. Now I think it's clear. So out of the expected 135.2 lakh crore, 103 lakh crore is something that will be in the divisible pool. So state share at 41% of divisible pool comes to 42.2 lakh crore for 2021-26 periods. 42.2 lakh crore now, including total grants of rupees. So remember the third point that we have seen there. But in this slide, we are only going to look up to this much, right? And all this thing will come in part 2, but we are going to see it here. So including total grants, so central government gives some grants to states that would be equal to 10.33 lakh crore rupees, right? So calculating the grant plus this 42 lakh crore that they are getting as a part of divisible pool, somewhere around 50.9% of the divisible pool during 2021 to 26. So this is the information that you need to remember. That's it, right? So and this 50.9% consists of the divisible pool amount, and the grant amount, right? So I hope you are going through a current affair, right? So in the recent time, there is a current affair that the Ministry of Finance has released the 4th installment of for the 17 states, right? And that was a part of revenue deficit. I remember, if I could remember it correctly, it is a part of revenue deficit. Okay, so that's 50.9% of divisible pool during 21 to 26. Now, total 15th Finance Commission transfer, devolution plus grant constitute about 34% of estimated gross revenue received of the union, leaving adequate fiscal space for the union to meet its resource. Means out of the total collection, the 34% of the amount goes to state government, rest everything is with the central government to meet its expenses and to look at the subject that they are dealing with, like defense, space. This is completely with the union government, right? So they have expenses there, so they can meet, right? So the only thing that you have to remember is 50.9%. I don't find rest important. Okay. Now let's move forward and let's understand horizontal devolution recommendation, right? So this is very, very important. I mean, if you understand this slide properly, more than 50% of your 15th Finance Commission would be done, right? So this is very important. So if you don't understand in one go, I would say watch it twice or thrice so that it becomes easy. Now we know that out of the total divisible pool, 41% is given to state government. Now, how these are decided? Like, let's say UP will get what amount of money, Punjab will get what amount of money, Chhattisgarh will get what amount of money, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Jammu, the Sikkim, right? West Bengal. So who will get what? how this is decided? So this is decided using this criteria. Number first is income distance. So in 15th Finance Commission, the weightage was 50%. In the 14th Finance Commission, it was 50%. In the 15th Finance Commission Report 1, it was 45, and as well as in Report 2, it is 45. Now, what is income distance? ठीक है, income distance क्या है? तो देखो, you know GSDP. What is GSDP? Like for the entire country, we have GDP. As you have seen in the last lecture, I have explained you what GDP is. GSDP is the same thing, but that is for the state. That is not for the union government. So when I say GDP, I mean the union, right? So the GDP of Chhattisgarh plus GDP of Maharashtra plus GDP of Punjab, GDP of New Delhi, GDP of Tamil Nadu, GDP of Kerala, GDP of Nagaland, GDP of West Bengal, all the states GDP will combine together to form the GDP of union, right? But GSDP means the state's gross domestic product, right? The state's gross domestic product. Now, how do we calculate the income distance? So GSDP divided by population. Population of whom? The population of the state government. The population of the state government. And whatever the value comes for the one state, this value will be calculated for each of the states, right? So when you have the value for every state, you can calculate the difference. So per capita income, what do we mean by per capita income? Like you have seen in the GDP lecture, I have explained you what per capita income is. What is the average of my income in unions, right? So per capita income of the union government means what is my income. So that is how you calculate total GDP of the nation, that is somewhere around 2.5 trillion divided by 1.3 billion people. The value, whatever the value comes, that will be per capita income, right? So taking the same thing for the state, it would be state domestic product divided by the population of that state. You will get some value, and now you have value for all the states, and you can calculate the difference. Now, how do we know that Maharashtra is one of the developed state, Bihar is not, Nagaland is not, right? How do we know that Tamil Nadu is one of the developed state, Punjab is not, Chhattisgarh is not? So it's easy. How? The per capita income. We see the per capita income. So if you see the per capita income of Maharashtra, you will see that's way much higher than Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Nagaland, Sikkim, West Bengal. But if you see the per capita income of these states, you will see they are much lower than the Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Hyderabad, the Telangana and Maharashtra. Why? Because the GSDP is more in that country. So income distance, so they'll calculate the income distance, right? So whosoever needs more money will be given more money. Now, how do we understand who will be given the more money? The distance that they have from the first place. Let's take an example. Let's suppose Maharashtra has the highest value. So the value which has come, so Maharashtra has the highest value, right? And Nagaland has the lowest value. So this is hypothetical example. I am not talking about data, right? So please keep that in mind. So Maharashtra has the highest value, Nagaland has the lowest value. So the distance would be large. When you minus it, so distance would be large. Means more amount of money should be given to Nagaland to overcome the problem. You are getting my point? So that is income distance. That is income distance. This follows the principle of equity. Equity, as simple as inclusive development. Everyone should get equal opportunities. So that is the reason they calculate it. Now, one thing to note here is, so some states had problem. States like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, right? Some southern states, including Maharashtra, had some problem. They have said to the 15th Finance Commission that we contribute much to the national GDP in terms of corporation tax as well, in terms of personal income tax as well, but the amount of money that we are getting out of the devolution is less. Why? Because go back to my hypothetical example, Maharashtra, the number is high, Nagaland, the number is low. Nagaland is getting more money, Maharashtra is getting less money, so obviously they will have problem, and the problem is genuine. So they went to the Finance Commission with this problem, but the Finance Commission said to them that since the terms of reference are like that, they cannot do anything about it, but because the terms of reference has been given by the central government through the president, so they cannot do about it anything. What they told, they will incentivize them through other measures. How? We are going to look at this slide only. Why I told you this here? Because you need to understand things before you mug up things, right? Now, so let us understand that. Demographic performance. So I'll come back to area population. Now let us understand the demographic performance. Now, what is demographic performance? Demographic performance means who is able to control their population or manage their population better, which state, right? So demographic population, look, it is not there in 14th Finance Commission, because these states do not have problem with the 14th Finance Commission. This state had the problem with, why they had the problem, you know, because the percentage was 50 for the 14th Finance Commission, whereas in 15th Finance Commission it was reduced to 45. Means their share of money is coming down. Their share of money is coming down. So when their share of money has come down, they had a problem. They gone to the Finance Commission. Finance Commission told that they cannot do anything. Yes, but they can incentivize them through different measures, and this is the measure, demographic performance. So whosoever has managed to control their population, right, managed to control their population is given 12.5%, which was not there in the 14th Finance Commission. Understand, right? This is something new in the 15th Finance Commission. And why this was introduced, I told you the reason with an hypothetical example. Okay. Now, let's come back to area. So, whosoever, area, who is bigger needs more money for managing things, as simple as that, 15%. So that was carried from the 15th Finance Commission to, 14th Finance Commission to 15th Finance Commission. Now, population for 1971, the 14th Finance Commission referred population of 1971 as 17.5%, but in new 15th Finance Commission, the population that was referred to was 2011. But see the difference, the population that were followed in 14th Finance Commission was 1971 they were giving weightage as 17.5%, and 2011 they has given as 10%. But in 15th Finance Commission, right, they have not taken the 1971 data. They have completely taken the new data, that is the population from 2011, 15%. Okay, so you will have to know, you will have to remember this difference, right? And do not forget that 14th Finance Commission also had weightage of 2011 population as 10%, right? So it is not that ki wo nahi tha. Then demographic performance, I told you, forest cover. So in 14th Finance Commission, the forest cover weightage was 7.5%, which was not carried in 15th Finance Commission, but 15th Finance Commission has modified the forest cover as forest and ecology. Forest and ecology, right? And forest and ecology means, and how they are doing? So total dense forest by total forest in India. So whatever would be the amount, whosoever has the highest amount will get more money. the weightage is 10%, right? This does mean कि जिसके पास ज़्यादा डेंस फॉरेस्ट है उसको ज़्यादा पैसा मिलेगा, एज सिंपल एज दैट, ठीक है. नाउ टैक्स एंड फिजिकल एफर्ट. सो देयर वाज नथिंग इन 14th Finance Commission, whereas in 15th Finance Commission the weightage was given as 2.5%. This is again incentivizing those states. This is again related to income distance, those states, because Maharashtra contributes more in corporate tax and in terms of personal income tax, whereas Karnataka also does the same because most of the IT companies are there in these states. Okay, so this contributes more. So means their fiscal efforts, so that was some or the other way possible, that is possible only because of their effort, means state government's efforts, right? So they are again incentivized through this new indicator called tax and fiscal effort, right? So this is important. So I hope I could able to explain you things in a crisper and clear way. If you have not understood, revise the video, watch this slide once again. If you watch and remember this slide, 50% of your 15th Finance Commission would be covered, right? Rest everything can be remembered by reading twice and thrice, but this thing needs a well understanding, right? How this income distance, how this income distance gave birth to demographic performance, right? Remember that hypothetical formula, hypothetical example that I gave. That is how it is. Now let us look up some questions, but we have only completed part 1, so there would be part 2. In part 2 I'll cover the entire thing. Let us take up some questions, how they can be framed and how they can be asked in the examinations. So the first one is, under which article does the Finance Commission constitute? What is the answer? The answer is Article 280. But Article 275 is also related, Article 274, 281, this is all related to the Finance Commission, right? But it constitutes under the Article 280 by the President of India. Now, next question, who decide on the qualification of members? President of India, Parliament, Union Cabinet, Speaker of Lok Sabha, or none of the above? Who is going to decide? The Parliament of India, not the Union Cabinet, not the President of India, not the Speaker of the Lok Sabha. So answer is Parliament of India. The third question, 15th Finance Commission was formed in, when it was formed? It was formed on 27 November 2015, right? So there can be confusing options like this. So answer is 27 November 2015. Now question number 4, vertical devolution is recommended by 15th Finance Commission Final Report Act. How much? Let me keep this answer blank. If you have watched the video properly, I think you can answer it. Do mention it in the comment section for question number 4. This is the question number 5. Which of the following has highest share among the horizontal devolution as per the 15th Finance Commission, right? Which has the highest share out of this? Okay, so again do mention it in the comment section, right? Now let's move forward to question number 6. Which one of the following has been introduced new in the 15th Finance Commission in horizontal devolution? Which among forest and ecology, population, area, fiscal efforts? None of them. Which one is the new? You need to mention it in the comment section. I will take up this 3 questions in the next video lecture of the part 2. So this was all about first term of reference, and in the part 2 we are going to look up second, third and fourth, right? So before I say goodbye, let me take you through one of the important things about Crack Grade B, that it offers country's economical course for all these examinations with highest selection. Like you have seen recently, SEBI grade examination came, the number of students that got selection using our course was way higher, right? And with this I have come to the end, but I would like to remind you for the upcoming examination, that is NABARD Grade A and NABARD Grade B, for which the notification is expected very soon. The course is very economical, it's 2499, and for grade B it's 3499, right? Thank you and happy learning. Let's meet in part 2. Goodbye.